This bear comes by and just stalks them. And then it gets scary because, you know, I can kind of deal with a bear that's making bear noises. You know, he's walking up the stairs like, rah, here I come. But, you know.
Why your bear talking to you?
Yeah, I know. Hey, brother, you know what? You got a nice physique on you. I like your style. You know what?
Am I getting hit on? Am I buying a shirt?
We'll see what happens. Because when you put on a shirt from dtmerch.com, you sure is sexy. And I want you to be hot for the people out there. One of the things that will always be there are the other shirts that we have. The jerseys, the caps, the phone covers, the laptop cover. We live stream these shows. Sometimes we take an email from you. We'll take a call, maybe even a Skype. And that's because we live stream to you. And while you're watching, we'd love to have you be part of what we're doing here. But that's going to require you to have a subscription. Now, you can just support by getting that subscription, but we would love to have you join us on the program. And plenty of ways to subscribe. But the way I recommend is, you know, I'm going to tell you, that's right, that Amazon account. You know, you got one. Everybody got one. Not even a Prime account. You just need that plain, ordinary, everyday Amazon account. And we got that Amazon Pay button for you. Combine those two by putting in your username, your password, pressing send, and send back. And I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna be over you, just pouring that nice, gooey, toasted goodness all over your body. And people said, man, you know, these women out here talking about we strong. We can do what men do too. Y'all ain't shit. Ain't, you know, a vagina and a penis ain't nothing but a thing. And now at this point, they're like, okay, you want to be just like us, man?
Yeah.
Go in there and take your ass with an alien invasion going on. No.
You want to get killed in a horror movie? Go do it.
Yeah. Meteor hit. You know what? You take your ass over there, then you be the first one. No, there's a gun. Here's a backpack. There's a direction. Get your ass on. Natalie Portman plays Lena. Just Lena. And Lena, that's what she's so badass. She don't need no last name.
She's like Xena,
but less, but with an L. Yeah, she's about to catch that L too.
Less Xena.
And Lena is experiencing a lot of weird things going on right now. First of all, husband came back home and he's acting weird, played by Issac. And then once he goes to the hospital, she's picked up by a bunch of dudes, one Asian dude in a big hazmat suit. She's set up in a room with one toilet like she in jail. After that, they don't even, like she didn't even get assigned for the job. They said, you know what, this comet has just landed and just blew a big bubble, big old oil-ass bubble over the forest area. It was a little small at first, but now that bubble just keep blowing.
And that whole area is a Starburst commercial.
yeah, it's bright, it's colorful, but it's weird. And all kind of mutants running through there. And they said, you know something, we're not asking, we just telling you. We're going to put this gun in your hand, put you in this suit, strap this backpack on you, and you're going to join up with 3 other scientists, and you're going to walk your ass over there into the heart of the bubble. See what's going on. Oh, and by the way, ain't nobody ever came back. Good luck. Yeah, when we say nobody, we talking about people, animals, drones, even robots don't survive. But maybe, just maybe, we don't know what's going on in there. I mean, it might be a party. People just don't want to leave.
And there's just a giant rave. Yeah. It's the cantina from Star Wars.
Yeah. This is, as they say, based on a best-selling novel. And a lot of people are saying, well, you know what? We've heard that this doesn't really stick to that novel, so this could be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer. And I want to look at the trailer because the trailer is very bizarre, very bizarre. You think the way I'm describing this is weird. Well, wait until you see the trailer itself, which I think it's a good trailer because, you know, weird stuff like this, you almost have to go see the movie to figure out what's going on. Here's a trailer for Annihilation. We'll be back with our review.
It's making something new.
This is, let me see here. So this is directed by Alex Garland. I tell you that that's the guy that directed Ex Machina. He has science fiction with always kind of a sinister, dark twist to it. And that's no different here. I mean, the movie just, you hear the music and you see the mystery behind it. And it's just something is just not right. And that's one of the things that I could say about the movie is that I think that whether you like the end result or not, I do think it sets up this sense of dread by just having all these weird things happen in the film, and and none of them are explained. They just present something and take their time getting around to it. As I said, Oscar Isaac, who plays a military man, and what they're doing is they call this area the Shimmer, and he's one of the few people to go into the Shimmer and make it out. At least alive as far as we know. And even though he's happy to see his wife, Natalie Portman, everything's fine, she's like, you think when a husband ain't seen his wife for a while, that he would be overjoyed, especially when she's crying. And when he walks in like, bitch, I don't know you. he's like on heroin or something. He's like, well, what are you doing here?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Where you been? I don't know.
He's like a little dumb kid.
I don't know.
He really is like a little dumb kid. I don't know.
Man, when you say this movie, it presents things that doesn't really give you answers. You got people getting asked direct questions, and all they can say is, I don't know.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. I'm like, shit, you got to know something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This kind of one of the easiest scripts I've ever written. I don't know. Where you been? I don't know.
What did it look like?
I don't know.
We just saw it. Yeah. You can describe it somewhat, right?
Damn, girl, what's your name? Don't you say don't.
Say it again, I dare you.
But some of those I don't knows are annoying, and some of them are followed by, like I said, a little bit of eeriness, because these people, when they say I don't know, be one thing if they, if it's your husband, you know me, like, because he'd be like, I don't know, but he's sitting up there like, I don't know, but I done seen some shit though.
I contacted everyone I could. The other partners knew just as little as me. Pakistan again?
I don't know.
What? Everybody drink. But there's a creepiness right there with that. And, like when you see it, and plus, you hear the ominous music, like when she's asking the questions and you hear that drum, boom. It's setting up the right mood. I like the atmosphere that they're creating, and the thing that might not appeal to everyone is that it takes its time creating that atmosphere. I don't know if that move too slow for a lot of people, or you could at least appreciate the scenery while it was taking its time.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting and it's well shot, but I did feel like for that first half hour, even 40 minutes, I felt like it kind of dragged a little bit. It did reach a point where it did really start picking up and things really started moving, and then I started rolling with it way more. But I do think the start was a little slow.
Yeah, it's moving at a very slow, deliberate pace, and it has that background music that's just kind of a drone, so it makes it even feel more like,
yeah,
all right, you're just never going to get to the point, are you?
And I don't know. No. And it's that music too, where they got those people like,
okay, the monks chanting.
Yeah.
And everyone talks pretty quietly too. And everyone's kind of saying their lines like this for the first 40 minutes. Like, I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
You gotta kick this shit up a little bit.
I was into the movie, and even I was fighting sleep with this. And the other thing with the way that people behave is that they're way calm for what's happening.
I know. I've been looking at for what has happened and what's at stake. They ain't that worked up about it.
Yeah, there's a point where it's revealed kind of what's happening. You're like, holy shit, this is horrifying.
Yeah. I mean, these people, they drinking beers and partying. And
while they're inside the Shimmer?
No, this is while before they go in.
Okay.
But they're having a girls' night. Girl, come over here and have a beer.
We watching Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, they go in there dressed like the reboot of Ghostbusters.
I thought that too.
And they just
walk
walk
like Stranger Things.
Yeah,
season 2.
And they just walk in there with no care.
It seems like they're just throwing caution to the wind. Like, is there a reason why they're just going in here without suits?
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
They're actually, to the movie's credit, they established that each of these people has gone through some shit.
Yeah.
So you kind of get where they're coming from mentally. It's like, okay, I see what's going on with you a little bit.
I can either commit suicide or just go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something where that's why it's cool for the movie to slowly reveal itself.
Okay.
Because you start to find out why. it might catch people's expectations off, like a lot of movies that we see today where they think they're going in for something and they're getting something else. Because with this, the Shimmer starts out just like old, almost B 1950s sci-fi movies. Good old-fashioned meteor. Comes down, hits a small town, and that's where everything starts. So you kind of feel like maybe, just maybe, you're going to get like that kind of straightforward science fiction film, and it's not.
No.
Not one bit, and I'm not going to tell you what it is or what's happening, but it is one of those thinking man's movies.
Okay.
This movie actually tested bad for being too smart.
Okay.
yeah. People actually walked out and said, you know what, you want me to think?
I ain't paid a thing.
No. Oh no, F.
Yeah, with a title like Annihilation, I'm expecting some carnage and some,
some
they action.
expecting bombs and creatures and monsters and all kind of stuff. And I tell you, you do kind of get that. And what I like about the movie is that when they're going into the Shimmer, it's probably the most threatening thing. But you want to hang out there for a little while because the rest of the world is so gray and dark and gloomy. But when they get into the Shimmer, which is probably the most dangerous territory we see in the movie, man, it's vibrant green. They color correct and kick up all the bright
Turn into
colors.
Wonderland.
They turn up the saturation.
Okay.
Plants grow like graffiti, you know.
Willy Wonka.
Yes. It makes you think of like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory if everything was made out of arsenic.
Yeah, they got these wonderful creatures in there. They're like these creatures look like they're at Woodstock. They put flowers in their antlers.
Yeah,
you know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and you know, oil slicks and oil spills, those don't usually get associated with beauty, but everything has that rainbow sheen on it. That's kind of what I liked. It wasn't too heavy. It's just like somewhere on the screen the whole time, even when it was dark sometimes, you always saw like that rainbow oil slick pattern, which I thought is kind of a cool look for a movie like this.
It's got a very cool look to it.
yeah, it does.
Yeah. I enjoyed that about it. But that's the thing. All this beauty is there to catch you off guard, because at first it's like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's beautiful. And then things start getting things start getting weirder. It's like, even though things are beautiful, it starts to be off-putting. Like, you know, things like this shouldn't happen. They shouldn't grow this way. This is gorgeous, but it's wrong. And then giant alligators start attacking, you know, mutant alligators. Because why not? Yeah, you know, you thought things were fucked up already, you know, and then that's when things really start to say, okay, this is a threatening land.
There are definitely a good number of surprises here in the things that they encounter and the things that happen. And I don't know about you guys, but I found this movie like really depressing. Like in a good way though. Like it felt very deliberate, just because the subject matter here, there's a sense of this is all for naught. Like this is really, it feels like the end of the world in a good way in this bubble that they're in. Yeah, like not like it felt deliberate. It felt like that's what they were going for, and I think for the most part they really achieved that.
They do, and I'm not going to tell you how, but they do explain it in the movie why they're all women. And you also have to recognize that in movies usually like this, because it ends up being sort of a survival film, a survival thriller, horror, science fiction film. And usually when you get those kind of things, you get a bunch of macho man.
Sure, you think Predator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and these are not mercenaries or commandos or macho dudes, but they are scientists. And scientists who can handle their own when shit goes down, and they have to do that, which makes it feel a little more real, because you know this is not something where you feel more frightened for them, because you know their skills that they have are limited, and you feel cool that they're able to survive and get by as long as they can. But it's still, and I'm not saying it's because they're women, it's because they are scientists, that there's a sort of vulnerability there that makes you just a little more nervous.
Also, something they do is, you know, they don't have the biggest budget for special effects. So what they do is they keep the amount of them small, but they look fantastic.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah.
There's one like creature in here that's really disturbing.
Man, that's the thing about it. They, you know, it's bad enough that they run into mutant plants and alligators and. You think they're home free, and then Skelebear shows up, and that bear, That bear from The Revenant ain't got nothing.
No.
I think it is the same bear. they just resurrected it.
Like, it looks kind of goofy in the trailer, but in the context of the movie and the noises it makes, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
That bear, that is some nightmarish shit that they show here. This bear comes by, and just stalks them, and then it gets scary because when I can kind of deal with a bear that's making bear noises. He's walking up the stairs like, "Rah, here I come." But
why your bear talking to you?
Yeah, I know. But compared to this, I'd rather hear a bear talk because this bear comes up the stairs and he's kind of like a velociraptor going through a period or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Halloween ghost bear or something coming up the stairs.
Yeah, he's got a special power that's extra creepy.
Yeah, it really these things are mutating to beyond the point of just being physically mutated. They're going to a whole other level that we can't understand.
They're trying to reach something in the center, and the closer they get, the more mutants they have to deal with.
Okay.
Just things that are just so weird and deadly.
Something's come through the fence.
Through the fence?
I can't see anything.
Yeah, neither can I.
That bear's like, it's always that one dumb one. I heard something crazy. I better go investigate.
Let me go into the dark.
Yeah. Bear just sitting there just waiting. Always going to be one. It never fails. It never fails. The rest of the team are people you've seen before. Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa, what's her name?
Thompson.
Tessa Thompson, and character actress, I think Tuva, I think is her name. I forget her last name. But, these are they're not bad characters. Like I said, the only thing that I think might throw you off with them, Tula Novotny, that's her right there. You might have seen her in movies before, but the only thing that's bothering about it is like when something goes down, they do act appropriately. They panic, they get scared, their survival instincts kicked in, but they are so mellow through this whole film.
Yeah, with the exception of one.
Yeah.
One of them has a pretty big breakdown, but for the most part, it was like whenever shit would go down, they would be like, "Oh God!" And then as soon as things were over, they'd just be like, "Okay, well, where were we?"
Yeah, it's like those wildebeests at the watering pond in the Serengeti.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alligator snatches one, and they kind of move away, and they go right back to the same spot and drink again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's full.
yeah.
I don't know. I was torn about them with that because at times it seemed like, hey, they're handling this and they're being very realistic about it, and other times I was like, man, I feel like more of a survival instinct would be with some of these people, and yet even like the motivation to keep going when it would get announced, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that.
But that's another thing. How much of this is playing with their minds, this force here, and how much of it is them just reacting,
I thought about that.
The only person that bothered me, because it was a little mellow, I'm saying this for other people, because other people might be bothered by that. It didn't bother me, except for Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
She was
the one who bothered me.
She had that bored teenager thing going on. We're going into the Shimmer. Or not, I don't care. It was something about her that just bothered me.
When I talk about the motivations, with her like, well, I'm going to get to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
She really was like, she was like a spoiled teenager. She was just kind of like, you guys can follow me or not. I don't care.
Because them going in to, investigate and bring back some information, when the first shit started happening, I'm like, this would be a good time to go back and report to base and then maybe come back with a few more people.
Yeah, but that's another thing. A lot of stuff they can get a pass on with this movie because you don't know how much the environment is actually influencing them to be doing what they're doing and how much of their own free will that they have. There's a lot of interpretation that can be done with this. And in between it all, to reinforce that, it's just a lot of freaky imagery. It's almost like a video game where, in a video game, when you're walking around and you find like notes and videotapes and cassettes and they're explaining the story as you go along.
Yeah.
They do that and sometimes the movie gets silly because in video game ways, it's like they find things like a memory card and like, oh, I just happen to have something to play that on in my pocket right here.
Yeah, I saw that camcorder scene.
That bothered me.
Yeah.
And there's another scene where a character finds a camera and it has just enough power to work. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Sitting here for a year
Yeah.
at least?
It's been there for a long ass
I mean,
time.
they made a point of saying how long that's been there.
Oh, yeah, it ain't no dust on it.
Nope.
So I'm like, who was ever there? Like that bear was watching videos before they got there.
Yeah.
Y'all heard the term whitewashing. Usually now is men with Asians, and that's something they say here. This is a series of books. In the second book, it was revealed that the lead character was Asian. They don't even have names for these characters now. Because of that, I can kind of understand where if you're taking a deviation away from the books, and these characters didn't even have any name or anything like that, I can see why that might not be very important to a lot of people. Even the director came out and said, I ain't trying to start anything. I just didn't think it was that big a deal. What's wrang with y'all? I will say, though, to address that, because a lot of people say, well, why didn't you talk about that? You're just going to skate by without confronting that confrontation right there. And I'll take the stand that I usually do. It's kind of hypocritical for a lot of people to just recently walk out of Black Panther talking about representation and then to turn around and say, but you know what, why y'all complaining? I think that I'm not going to say the movie is a bad movie because of that, and I do sympathize where people are coming from. I'm not going to rail against the movie because of that, but I do understand for people that are underrepresented as far as being leads in movies. This is an opportunity to put them in there, and they don't get it. So I wouldn't dare say that they should shut up or they don't have a right to say anything. They do. I guess I'm not going to say it bothered me, but for a movie that is aiming this high to be an intellectual science fiction horror thriller, they do things that we kind of expect. Being that this is a survival movie and they are a team, it gets to the point where people don't trust each other. Right. People start losing it in predictable ways. You know what I'm saying?
And even though they tell you that ahead of time, even still when it plays out, it's that feeling of like, it's become a trope now.
I am somebody who enjoys this kind of film because I like movies that don't spell out everything. I like when things take their time. The pacing, slow, and I would even say slow to a fault, just a little bit. Yeah. But again, that slow pacing is there for a reason. It's just so they can gradually reveal things. I still feel like they could shave 15 minutes off this movie.
Oh, easily.
Easily, yeah. But
I'd say 30.
Yeah, I can see that too.
In the beginning.
Yeah, because I would even say that there are certain things that are going on. There's narration through this that I don't think they really need. I'm not going to say it doesn't work for everybody. I think for a lot of people it might, but I think the mystery would have even been better.
Jumps in time.
Yeah, it jumps in time.
A lot of flashbacks.
Yeah. A lot of things I think could have been done better had it just played itself straightforward. But with that said, this movie really did freak me out. And it freaked me out because of what was going on at the end. They don't tell you everything that's happening. And I'm not going to say what's happening at the end here, but I do like that kind of ambiguity where and they even kind of tell you what's going on. So it's not like 2001 or anything where it's just left completely open for interpretation. But there is a lot going on where I like, if something like this was to go down, it might be confusing like this. It's not going to be straightforward. Right. Nobody's going to be able to figure it out just as easy, by science. Nothing like that. People are going to walk away with more questions than they had before. And the movie leaves that way. And it even tells you that, hey, look, they saying I don't know for a reason. When they get to the end, by that time that last I don't know comes around, you understand because they ask you, what do you think? And you're like, I don't know. So,
what do you think the ending meant? I don't know.
Yeah. I do like leaving and trying to figure it out and trying to think about, okay, it could be this or it could be that. And the ending it really is. It's very freaky, not even in a horrifying way. It's just very freaky in a way that there's just something that's happening, and it's almost like having a fever dream.
I think it sounds like we're pretty much all on the same page because there are a lot of things I think this movie does really well. I think a lot of the horror stuff is actually done really, really well. It's disturbing and creepy as shit at points. And for the most part, I really enjoyed it. It's just, I think at points it is just too slow. And sometimes I felt like it was trying to be a little too heady for its own good. I can see that. It's like, I get what you're trying to do. And I don't think it's as complex as you're portraying it to be. I think it could have been simplified a little bit and still been intellectual and interesting. But overall, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it far more than I didn't. Sure, I'd give it a matinee. Okay. Especially if you are into either thinking sci-fi or body horror, I think this does a pretty good job of handling both.
I kept going back and forth on the movie, how I felt about it. Because early in the beginning, I was like, man, I'm just not digging this at all. Yeah. But once shit started to happen, it's like, all right, now we got something. And like, oh, I see what they're doing. I like, when it comes to the end, I like the climax. The very end, I was kind of like, oh, wah, wah. So it put me in that like for me it might be more of a high rental, but I appreciate a lot of it. So I would give it a low matinee.
Let's make up a rule right now. You don't have to be slow to be smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
I don't think you can say it any better than that.
Yeah, you know, you don't have to walk around your movie with your hand on your chin. You're like, you know, you don't have to ponderous. You
Yeah.
think ponderous
Oh,
means
that's a perfect word.
Yeah, you think ponderous means smart. You don't have to be ponderous and slow and stroll your ass through the movie to look smart. You got a good script right here. You're doing something that's pretty noble. I mean, this, and you know something. I think that a lot of people accept this more if it moves fast. And they don't have time to be bored and then sit up there and be mad about having to make them think. That's my biggest problem with this. I do like slow movies, but this one gets to a point where you don't need it. All these movies think that if you just stroll your ass to the film and then have that person behind you, that monk, and that one dog.
Yo, this is deep.
And then start doing it backwards. You don't have to do that. And that's what really hurts this movie, I think. But you heard why I like it. I mean, I love intellectual science fiction. I love movies that don't explain everything. And plus, this is a movie that was able to be smart and throw in a little bit of horror there too, like real, genuine, fun horror. It's a high matinee to me. But please, let's speed it up.
Let's move this shit along. We got something.
Wrap it up.
If you see here the philosophy, come on, shit.
Yeah. Bring back that bear.
You know, you brought back that bear. That bear would probably be like, man, I want to tell you. Let me read you my poem right now. Y'all got about an hour.
Comes in with bongo drums.
Mutation, vibration.